Someone says, "What's the future?" Vaughn Coleman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Vaughn Coleman Presents, our 69th episode. And of course, we have our buddy Edwin. But before we introduce him, I meant to say Edwin Buzz Acevedo. Did I mess up the title? Hold on. I got to fix the title in real time, guys. Can't believe I did this. I'm going to have another Buzz on next week. But of course, there's none quite like this guy. All right. I can't change. Can I change? All right. I'll figure it out. But before we get started, I want to talk about my book, which is, of course, Phenomenova. So it is coming to Indiegogo, so definitely sign up for that if you have not already. But more importantly, it's available on Fund My Comic right now, and there is an exclusive free mini print if you choose to back it on Fund My Comic. So make sure you do that. We have 218 backers, and the book is getting closer to done every day. It should be fully colored soon. We're actually getting towards the end of lettering. The book is going to be done soon. But, ladies and gentlemen, you're not here for me. You're here for my guest. Please welcome Buzz. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Setting up a campaign, I know, is a lot of work, but, it's worth it.
Definitely.
Your book looks great, man. I like the cover by Dan Dahl.
Yep,
but before we get into your book, I always like to ask, so you're the writer, you're the creator of this book. How did you first get into comics?
Oh, I discovered them probably back in 1990. Just at a local kind of store. Had a spinner rack, and I found Spider-Man there. I found X-Men there. And basically just kind of changed my life, I had no idea comics were even like a thing. I knew Spider-Man from like TV and stuff like that. Never heard of the X-Men or anything. And then I discovered a copy of Uncanny X-Men. I always get the numbers confused. I think it's 283. It's the one with Bishop and Storm on the cover.
Oh, okay. Bishop's Crossing.
Yeah, that just changed my life, man. Will Spartaccio, man, the GOAT, his art just completely mesmerized me. And after that, for like a good 7-8 years, I had to get anything with an X in front of it. That was it, man. If I had money, that's the first thing I'd go for, X-Men books.
Gotcha. So wait, well, there's two. All right, so the one with Storm on the cover. So that's going to be, all right, I got it. So it's going to be, let me just pull it up. I was like pulling it up. I haven't gotten here yet. I've been close to it. Right now I have a pile of indie books to read, and then I want to get back to X-Men and really finish off that run. But it's this one, right?
Mm-hmm. That one right there, man.
Cool. I've never seen this color
on the spinner rack, and I was like, I have to have this. I don't know what it is, but had some money in my pocket, took it to the counter, and like I said, after that, man, anytime I went back to the store, it's anything with X-Men on it. Didn't matter what it was, I had to get it. If X-Men made an appearance in a book I wasn't collecting, I had to get it. Just became obsessed with comic books, man. Started my love for them, and dreamt of being an artist at first. Tried to pursue that up until like I graduated high school, but I could never really get the hang of the art. Wasn't really meant to be on that end. But yeah, man, I've always loved creating my own little mini comics, crude art and stuff. I had my own line of superheroes that I had, like a little Justice League team. I wish I had some of those, but I lost everything that's like art or wise or anything back in like 2001 when there was a fire in my apartment. I also lost all my comics there too, so like that's kind
of man, that sucks.
Gone for good. But yeah, I've gone back and I've gotten a lot of the X-Men back issues and stuff. Like I have a ton of them. I've gotten them back and a couple other lines. But yeah, it's like man, I've been in love with them. And then I discovered this indie movement here. When Ethan Van Sciver, right as he launched the first episode of his new channel, and I discovered a bunch of people like me, man, who loved comics and just. There's this brand new indie space that people were creating their own comics, and that's what kind of sent me down the indie creator path.
Right on. Yeah, it's been really cool. It's just seeing how many people. Yeah, I didn't realize how many it's weird. I'm like the only nerd like where I'm from, and then just seeing how many other people there are that share these interests is just always cool. You know, I love that stuff. And right here we've got you know, so much stuff that's coming out, but I really want to take a look at your stuff because your book looks great. One of the things that really sticks out to me is the character designs are great. I really like those. Like right off the bat, I was one thumbnail because it was like different proportion differently, and I'm like, I want to find a way to include all of them in the thumbnail because they all look cool. So I guess these are characters you've had in your head for a long time, then.
No, these started around like 2018, 2019.
Okay.
You know, like these were, I'm a big fan of Darkhawk. That's what kind of inspired the Ace. Anybody who read Darkhawk back in like 1990, 1991, I can see kind of the similarities. So yeah, I wanted to mix that with some like Green Lantern. I'm a big fan of Hal Jordan, you know, kind of take the armor, the space, the different kind of alien creatures, all that kind of stuff. When you get into the Green Lantern Corps specifically, you know, you have the Green Lanterns going to all these different you know, different parts of the universe, different worlds, discovering different species of characters. I wanted to kind of play with all those kind of elements that were like near and dear to me. So it's kind of my own take on them.
That's all right, because I didn't know that. It's always cool hearing about this, you know, going in. So it's kind of like Green Lantern then. That's so everyone's a different species.
Yep, all these you see Akula, the giant shark guy, the chick with the wings. Yeah, all these are aliens. The only human is Ace, who's his real name is David. Yeah, so he's the only human, and you know he thinks he's living in a normal world. He you know his world doesn't have any superheroes, doesn't have any aliens, nothing special about it. You know he's lived 21 years in like this normal world, and then one day he comes across the remains of a shooting star, and he finds something in the wreckage, and then gives him the ability to transform into this armored super being. And then all these aliens start showing up at his front door, and he's like, what the hell's going on? And now he's got to figure out, you know, everything that he has to figure out what the armor's about. He's got to keep it away from a lot of bad people. So that's what kind of makes the Ace fun.
Oh yeah. And it's really cool seeing that just all this stuff coming together. And I really like that. I mean, I like one of the things. So obviously it's a different interior art team, but so he's taken these new kind of like ragtag team. We've got 4 characters. He's the main character. Is it more of a team book, or is it just they just happen to be companions? Like,
yeah, for this one's a bit of a team up. You know, they're basically to give a quick recap in Ace Volume 1, Akula, who's the shark alien, he's a bounty hunter. So he shows up at Ace's front door looking to take the armor. Ace is able to outsmart him and outwit him. And it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, which introduces this group called the Godless. The chick with the white hair, she's part of the Godless. There's a special kind of strike force that comes to Earth to bring Ace back to their home planet. So Ace agrees to go with them, and then he gets ambushed by the chick with the wings, Angelique. So she ends up ambushing the ship and taking out several of the Godless members. And Desi and Ace are able to take her out, and they're basically trying to make their way, you know, to bring her back to her home planet. And then, you know, they run into the new threat called the Hyan, these kind of hyena alien creatures. And now, you know, basically Ace and Desi are completely outmatched. They're outmanned, they're outgunned. And now they have to call on the help of Akula and Angelique to help them fight back this Hyan threat. And both Akula and Angelique have their own reasons for joining this fight. So they have to form like a temporary alliance to kind of battle back this new threat.
that's cool. So is this a self-contained story, or is this like all or is it, what I'm wondering is like, so for the first 2 issues, is it like part of an arc, or is it like they're self-contained stories?
It's part of an arc. It's like a 4-part arc, tells the first open story, but each issue is kind of its own thing. Like I said, it kind of brings it to a close, and then we kind of start the next one. It just continues it. So you're able to kind of jump on, hey, what up, son? And kind of get everything that's going on. You know, we're trying to make it as accessible as possible. But yeah, if you grab all 3, you'll get like the full story, and you get little Easter eggs and different things that are lined up through the book that'll give you like a bigger kind of more information into the characters and the story that I'm telling. So yeah, I'll definitely suggest a bundle for anybody who you know hasn't tried Ace yet. You know, catch up all 3 issues, and then you'll be caught up nicely.
Gotcha. All right. So definitely. So each issue is, $45 for how many pages is each issue?
That's 32.
32 pages. That's a good deal then. Each issue?
Yep.
Wow. All right. So that's a really good deal then. $45. And you get all that story. And for this one, how much is it for this one?
15 like for each issue, yeah.
15. Okay, gotcha. And then it looks like and I guess we don't have covers for this one yet?
Those are additional printing. So basically each campaign has a specific run. So basically the original cover for the Ace Volume 1 was by Donald DeLay. So that cover is only available during the campaign. Once I do a reprint, it has a different cover. So what you need is like a second printing of the book.
Right. And we don't see those colors, but those covers will be available.
No, they're going to have logo covers. So it'll just
okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So you'll know it's like a second and third printing. That's why I always tell people, if you like the Dan Good doll cover, this is the only way you're going to get it. Once the campaign ends, they're gone.
Great cover.
So like, like I said, I had like I said, Donald did the one for Ace Volume 1. Doodle Bags did the one for the Ace Volume 2, and both of those were only available during the initial campaign. So they get retired afterwards.
Then look at that, man. $35 for these art cards from Shelby Robertson. That's a great deal.
Yes, Shelby has incredible sketch cards, super talented guy. So he was able to do a couple for me. I think 2 available from him and 2 from Joe Ball, who also did some sketch cards for me. So
these are awesome. So there's some original art on this campaign that's very affordable. So definitely make sure you get that. And I wonder, who are your favorite? Because you mentioned you're a writer. Who are your favorite writers?
My favorite writer is Jeff Johns. Like I said, I'm a huge Green Lantern fan.
I've read Rebirth. I haven't read the rest yet, but I've read Rebirth and then that one Darwin Cook issue right after Rebirth. But I have the whole omnibus. I just haven't finished it yet.
Trust me, when you get to Sinestro Corps, Green Lantern will be your favorite. War? When Sinestro Corps hits, it's going to be your favorite book. You'll be like,
I think I'm going to finish this run off, and then I have new team. I have multiple runs that I've started, and I got to just get in the habit of finishing them. And one of them is Jeff Johns, because that's one of the few runs that I know came out during my lifetime that everyone says was like an instant classic. That, and then I know Scott Snyder's Batman as well is one I have to read. But Sinestro Corps War, and then Blackest Night was towards the end of his run, or was it?
Semi-end. He does Blackest Night, and then it's towards probably like 3/4 of the way down.
Okay.
Then he did the reboot during New 52. He did the first 25 issues, I think. So that's the end of his run there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember that was like one of the books that I think, if I remember correctly, they kind of just did their own thing. But I know Sinestro Corps War people love. When do they introduce all the other lanterns?
They do it in the lead up to Sinestro Corps War.
Oh, okay.
Get a glimpse of them, and then the whole Light War kicks off in Sinestro Corps, and then it continues after you get more deeper into each of the different color spectrums and everything, building up to Blackest Night.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I've been meaning to check out that run. I know everyone loves Jeff Johns is one of my favorites too. He's definitely in my top 5, 6, whatever. Yeah, top 5. Like his stuff. I mean, because him and Jim Lee were like the face of DC Comics at the time I was getting into it. With the Justice League and all of that. And so his stuff is great. So you pull from a lot of Green Lantern, but I do kind of see, I know your artist obviously does his own thing, but what I like about it is each character feels almost like totally different, like in the sense that they could, yet it's weird. They flow together well. Yeah. But each character looks like they could be from a different franchise, which I do really like. I like also because Green Lantern, they obviously have the power rings. What I like is that each character here has something totally different. And I just love these designs. Yeah,
like that's a big, like I said, you can tell the X-Men influence, the idea of making each character unique. Like the gala suit you see right there on Desi. the chick with the white hair. She's got the blue and yellow from the X-Men.
Yes, that was what I was going to say, but I was like, I'm
so
going
like
to try and restrain myself from one X-Men reference, but I can't.
yeah,
I can't because it's true.
it's
I see almost a little
actually, it's in the
Mandalorian.
blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people compare that. Like I said, I lean more towards Darkhawk. Anybody who's seen Darkhawk can kind of see the similarity in Darkhawk. But yeah, you know, anything with like the visor and the helmet's always going to draw like Star Wars comparisons.
Was that Jim Valentino, Darkhawk? Or what was
No, that was
No.
Shadowhawk.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, Darkhawk was 1990s.
I don't know this character actually. Never heard of Darkhawk. Wow, it's interesting. And normally, you think you know everyone, and then guess I never heard of that one. That's cool. Cool looking design. So okay, so we got this one. And how long are you planning on running the series for?
Oh, you know, Ace is my baby. You know, I would love to continue to tell stories as long as possible. You know, like I love the world, the characters. I have a whole big ideas and stuff I want to do in the future with all the characters and stuff. So yeah, as long as I can keep getting them funded, you know, we'll keep putting them out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm on that same wavelength. It's just one of the things I like about comics. I understand people feel like, oh, they go on for too long, but I don't know, man. There's just something about, because I used to read graphic novels and whatever, but there's just something about the nonstop stories where it's like, if you can keep going, just keep going. You know, so many people, people underestimate how creative you can get with these stories. I mean, generally, when you have when I feel like comic book creators are some of the most energetic people out there. You know, you ever watch a show where you're like, man, they just don't even want to make this show anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, you know, comics, it's like, I like Chris Claremont when he was done with 16 years, he was like, I could have done 16 more on X-Men, you know, and you could feel it. Like you could feel the excitement rippling through. And it's always nice hearing that from creators, especially because we're in the independent scene where we don't get corporate backing. We don't get monthly comics. So to hear that kind of response is always something really cool to hear. It's like a commitment.
Yeah, definitely.
So who's your favorite Green Lantern? I got to ask.
Mine is Hal Jordan.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Hal fan. Yeah, like he's I just think he's so unique, and so many people don't actually understand his character, which means why he's been so poorly written by almost everybody, except like maybe like a handful of writers. Like, to give you an idea, Hal is a superhero without the ring. He's a fighter pilot. Yes. He takes risks every day by jumping into these experimental planes without any safety net. Like he's the kind of guy who will jump into a burning building and save people without, you know, who'll risk his own life for it. Like him having the ring only amplifies who he is at his core. Mm-hmm. And most people don't understand that. They think like the power makes you a hero. No. Yeah. Hal was born a hero. He saw his father die saving people. You know, he decided to crash a plane into a safe space before it would get out of control and harm people. He made that sacrifice. So Hal knew so much good to be heroic and to be selfless. So, and so many people they're so like they want to make Hal everything except that. But no, Hal's a superhero without any powers or anything. Like, and that also makes him completely unique in a world. You know, like he's the same in costume and out of costume. There is no mask. When he puts on the Green Lantern gear, he's still Hal Jordan. There's nothing about him that's different. He doesn't act different. He doesn't behave different. You know, and you can't really find that anywhere else. And most writers never understand that. Jeff understood it. At the core, how so interesting and just so different than anybody else. And he wrote a great version of the character, you know, that just kind of brought out the best of him. Probably hasn't been written that gets inspired like early 80s, you know. That was back in 2004, so it's a good 20 years.
Yeah, what was correct me if I'm wrong, was Hal not around during Crisis on Infinite Earths? Because I remember Guy Gardner and John Stewart being there, but was Hal there?
There's a whole story about how Hal was basically so irrelevant at that point that they forgot to put him in.
They forgot?
Basically,
that is
Hal just got lost in the shuffle. Yeah, I remember reading something about how just getting lost in the shuffle because
I can't
like
even imagine that.
yeah. So that's how
In this,
bad his character has been at points. So yeah, when he came back in 2004, Hal fans like me were just like they over the moon. I remember picking up the first couple issues of Green Lantern, just being so nervous. Just please be good. Just please be good.
yeah,
Please be good. And then it was great. So it just
yeah.
took it over the moon,
Dude,
So
I
yeah.
wasn't even a someone who had like because I by the time I was getting into comics, Hal was already back. But even reading Green Lantern Rebirth, that journey, I could understand why people felt like that. Yeah, like when he comes back and he
Yeah.
redeems himself, because it's like
Yeah.
the 90s. I remember just even not even having read Emerald Twilight, just reading the Wikipedia article on how Jordan's character, and I was like, oh my god, like he has the worst, like because Barry Allen dies a hero, right?
Mhm.
Hal gets his whole city nuked, goes insane, and slaughters the entire Green Lantern Corps. And I'm like, that has got to be the worst. And then becomes like a villain. And I'm like, that's got to be the worst treatment I've ever seen a hero get. I think like I'd
Yeah.
rather be brutally murdered than
Mhm.
that. Like, that's horrifying and tragic.
Yeah.
And then so I imagine the 90s must have been rough then.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like just Hal was just written as such like a loser and just a guy with they gave him the gray hair, trying to make him like Mr. Fantastic for no
Yeah.
reason. Like no, Hal was a young guy. He wasn't like he wasn't older than his counterpart. Hal was the same age. There's no reason for him to be going gray. So they just did so many bad things. Like I said, man, when people came back like me, when I heard about Rebirth, man, I was just hoping it was serviceable. I'm like, bring him back, even if the book isn't great, I'll buy it anyway. But then I read the first couple issues and it was so good. And then when towards the end, like I think issue 4, 5, and 6, when Hal's back in his human form, and you start getting like the real Hal, as I like to call it. You start getting the attitude, the smirk. Like I remember, like he comes back from the dead, literally, and he tells Sinestro to get away from Kyle, and then Sinestro
Mhm.
just blasts him with like a laser and just sends him crashing, and
Oh
he
yeah.
gets up, he's bloody, and he just smirks, and he's like, "It feels good to be alive." And then he just jets right towards Sinestro for some more, and I'm thinking, like, in that one page tells you everything you need to know about who Hal Jordan is. And I just
Yeah.
about smiled on my face back then, man. I just remember going through that one issue over and over again. And then when he punches out Batman
Yeah.
for getting in the way of Green Lantern Corps business, like that's how, like, he punches first, apologizes later. Like there's literally not an ounce of fear. He doesn't back down from Batman. He's not one of these guys like, oh, it's Batman. How doesn't even look at Batman twice. He's like, Batman, this is Green Lantern business. Get out the way. So
Yeah.
like Gus just nailed them so good during those 6 issues that I had to jump on board afterwards. I'd stop collecting basically. I'd pick up 1 or 2 things back then, but by 2004, like there was really nothing for me in comics until Green Lantern Rebirth came. That's kind of started me collecting again, man. It was just fantastic work and just incredible art too.
That's so cool. Yeah. I mean, Green Lantern Rebirth was one of those stories that just, I mean, I think everyone loves. Again, I read that. And if I wasn't in the middle of a bunch of runs, I think I would have just marathoned it all because it's invigorating. And it's one of those stories. I love that ending splash page too, where it's like, where Ollie says, I can't remember the oath. And he goes, I'll never forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think one of the things you pointed out that I like about the Green Lanterns too is that all of them earned it in some way. They were worthy before they become a superhero, right?
Yeah.
Like Peter Parker, obviously, he gets his powers and then he makes a mistake and then he has to earn it. What I like about the Green Lanterns is they already, and they're not even seeking it out, right? Like Hal didn't even know the Green Lantern Corps existed. None of them really did. They just get it because they're seen as worthy. So they're already heroes. And I just think that's so cool. Hal's my favorite too. Because the first one I was exposed to was Jon Stewart in the animated series, but I do like Hal as my favorite. Do you like Kyle Rayner then, or no?
I'm going to respect him, like I said, very much so. Like when Hal's fighting Sinestro and Sinestro's bad mouthing Kyle, and Hal tells him like, "No, you're gonna stop that. You're gonna respect Kyle Rayner. He's one of us." Like that I think that was well done by Johns because it kind of put a lot of the flame wars that were going online to cease. And it was like, yeah, you know, you don't have to like any lantern, but you'll respect them because they're part of the crew. So that's kind of what I've kind of grown to respect all of them. Really, you know, doesn't matter like if they're new or old, as long as they're part of the crew. You know, they're like it's like a brotherhood. You know, you show
That's
them
one of the
respect.
things I liked about it, Green Lantern Corps, is it's not like the Robins where there's always like Tim and Damian. I think part of the reason people like there's a divide between Tim Drake and Damian fans. So there's the replacement thing, but the Green Lantern Corps, it's like they're all brothers, right? Like they've got this camaraderie that I think everyone likes.
Yeah,
And I love that. Yeah, man. I mean, so who's your second favorite then?
my second favorite is Kilowog. Kilowog
Kilowog,
is
yeah.
awesome. Just like, you know, he's the best kind of like partner you could have. You know, I like the idea that Jeff made like two Green Lanterns. And initially they had John be his second, but I thought like Kilowog should be his second. There's one thing about like the Green Lantern animated series, which is super fantastic, is the banter and like the brotherhood of Hal and Kilowog is just fantastic. Like, you know, Kilowog and him is they're so different, but they're also so similar. So they make like a great duo. They're like two brothers, you know, fighting in arms. And they, like I said, Kilowog is just visually a fantastic looking character. And he's like also like kind of tragic and heroic in his own way. You know, he's lost his whole race, and he still fights on the good fight of the Green Lantern. So it's something very tragic and just kind of like awesome about Kilowog.
Yeah, I you know what I also like is I like Toma Ray as well.
Of course, Tomar Ray, like anybody who's read like the old like black and white 1960s Green Lantern, Tomar Ray was his original buddy, you know, the first ever Green Lantern he ever met.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I guess I haven't read the earlier stuff. I didn't know that. Yeah,
First
you'll
ever
see.
Green Lantern he discovered. Yeah, he patrolled the sector right next to Earth. So Hal had adventures with him. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see that my knowledge is I guess not as advanced as I'd like to pretend it is, but
I
didn't know that because I always saw Kilowog. Well, I didn't realize that Kilowog was created that late 86. So I didn't know that. Wow. Sorry, I was just looking it up.
Yeah,
I was going to pull it up in a second.
Green Lanterns have a great long history. You know, there's been a lot of bad stuff, but the good stuff is, you know, really, really good. And like I said, the stuff that John Broome and Gil Kane did in the 60s basically still holds up. They created Hal, they created Sinestro, they created the Guardians, they created the Green Lantern Corps. You know, like they created stuff that lasted long past when they were both gone. So, you know, it's a great history that continues.
That's awesome. So, yeah, I mean, I always love the well, it's like Green Lanterns have always wanted to get more into, and I definitely Rebirth definitely did it. Yeah, I know, Vaughn. You have decades of comics.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. That's I guess one of the tough parts about the indie scene too is what you got to realize, especially with young readers. Well, it's hard enough getting them to read comics. Believe me, I look at my YouTube demographics and who watches me. You know, they're always older than me. My audience is older than me, but it's like we're not just competing with each other or even the mainstream. We're competing with decades past, right? You know, you could get because someone could buy a whole omnibus for a really good price. Someone, I mean, well, there's also at cons. By the way, you guys wait till Sundays to buy those omnibuses at the cons when they're really just trying to get rid of them. But you know, there's always so much stuff that we're competing with. But this story looks really cool. And so you said that this is like basically the penultimate part in this arc. It's 3 out of 4.
Yeah, basically, you know, we've kind of built up to this issue here, this kind of temporary team up between all these characters facing a new threat. And then the last one is going to kind of start giving you some answers about the Ace and his armor, and kind of it's going to open up for new adventures in volume 5 and on. So, like I said, I think it's the perfect time for people to catch up for the series.
We're close too. This is definitely attainable.
Yeah.
Keep going. We got 35 days left, but I want to see it go faster because I want to see stretch goals and I want to know this is getting made. But let's watch this trailer. It's awesome. That's really cool. So definitely make sure that you guys check this out. I want to grab, because I have my omnibus, but you know what? It's where did my stuff's a mess. I've been trying to go through it, and it's not happening. So let me write that down too. But yeah, I mean, what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, it's just there's always so much on the market out there.
Mhm.
And it's always cool seeing something that's just totally different. So would you describe it as superhero and sci-fi?
Yeah, very much. So, kind of blends a lot of different things together. You got space, you got different like spaceships and stuff. There's a lot of like vehicles and stuff mixed in with like all these alien races and kind of like the discovery factor. I'm also a big like Next Generation fan. So, all these little things, there's little drops of a lot of things that inspire me throughout anything I do. So there's little touches that most people probably wouldn't even look twice at it. But, when I see it, I see the little influences that come out,
Yeah, no, Star Trek, I got to confess, is one of those few things I haven't gotten into. I definitely would love to. But
you can start with Next Generation and you'll be good.
Is that it? Someone was telling me Deep Space Nine the other day was a good one.
Yeah, but like I said, a lot of stuff from characters, even from like Next Generation, show up there. So
okay, but that's cool. Did you feel that there? I'm just curious that there was a point where Green Lantern fell off after Jeff Johns left.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's a tough formula. I don't envy anybody who had to follow Jeff.
Yeah.
But unless you really know the lore and the characters, like Robert Venditti did his best, but he was just trying to basically follow the Jeff Johns blueprint, and he wasn't really putting his own touches on it. It was basically reading like a soft Johns, and there's only stuff that I felt like was kind of retreaded, and I had to tap out after like I think I kind of liked it for like a year or two after Johns left, and then that was it. But yeah, like it's a tough formula, like you have to put your own imprint on it, even though you can respect the past. Like I think a lot of people they want to like redo what Jeff did, and like no, Jeff completely just brought new life and new characters. You can't redo that. You're gonna have to. I think the best bet for me would be just to strip it all back down. I would stay away from like the multicolor spectrum. I'd make it back about how
is that what you do?
And having adventures again, and just being a superhero and finding different worlds, different things that he can get into. Like I would bring it back to like square one. I think it's the only way to make it work.
I think one of the things that writers do that honestly one of the best ways to kind of make a character good. I'm doing this issue 2 of my book. I'm kind of getting it done with. Not saying I will never do it again, but is to strip a character down to their elements. Because I think we love seeing, these kinds of big stories where the characters all come together and you build out these worlds and these lore. And I think the problem we're having now is we're so far in that everything has to be almost like a crisis event or like a massive team up or whatever. And I remember getting annoyed, for example, because I wanted to like read a Wonder Woman run, and it was like every time like I want to know her, and it'd be like, well, we have a crossover with the I'm like, can we just have fun once? Not everyone has to show up. We don't need all the Amazons to show up or the Justice League to show up every time. And I noticed that a lot of, especially with DC, they would do these things where like all the characters would show up. And I like also when they boil a character down to their base elements. Again, I talk about like some of my comics I consider a reconstruction, right? But to do that, you have to deconstruct, but not in the cynical sense, in the break it down, like Daredevil Born Again, right? I mean, who can forget that iconic splash page? Because I had seen it a million times in pictures online, or whenever someone mentions Daredevil Born Again, you see that iconic splash page of him in the flames. But seeing it in context of that scene, it is one of the most powerful scenes, I think, in comic book history, where there's life, death, where Storm gets her powers ripped from her. So that way, when she gets it back, it's like you remember why they were so important. Or when Hal gets that ring back and he's like finally back, you know.
That's another good one. During Rebirth, when Guy gets the ring, and John's like, "Hey, I thought you didn't need it." He's like, "I lied."
Yeah.
I was like, John was so good, like at getting each character and boiling it down to like, I can literally just, I remember these pages. I haven't read Rebirth in probably a good like 5 years by the last time I read it, and I can still recall stuff from that book, like because it just got ingrained in me. Like it felt so like right.
Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna grab it real quick. I'll be right back.
Yep.
But I'll keep talking, but like I have that. Where the hell did I put it? That omnibus somewhere around here, and it's like, yeah, I've read it once, and I can never forget it because it's unforgettable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, is it in my other room? It might be my. One sec.
Yeah, hell the chat. Thanks guys for hanging out with us.
It's unforgettable, and we should all be so lucky to create something like that. And to do so, it's hard enough to create your own world with your own lore. But I also would argue reading all that history and knowing it is a lot of work. Now, if you're a fan, you'll do all that stuff happily, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm finding it. Okay, I flipped too far ahead. Where are we? I'm trying to, because there's all these moments. But yeah, I've been getting it signed by. This is a pain in the ass to lug around at conventions, but those
can't imagine.
but those signatures are always nice to have.
There we go.
I got it signed by Jeff and talked to him about it. But yeah, I mean, it's some of the best stuff out there. And yeah, I mean, there's so much good in this book. Sinestro, so even though it's weird seeing him because that classic outfit almost feels like dated now compared to the Sinestro Corps outfit, which is weird to say because I know this version came out, way back when. But yeah, I mean that whole moment where he's like, "I never lied," or "I lied,"
Yeah, it's just so many good stuff. Like when Hal destroys Sinestro's ring and he goes back to Quartz, and Sinestro is disintegrating. He smirks at Hal. He says, "It's good to have you back."
Yeah,
like there's so many little moments where you, as a longtime fan, you can just like, oh, he gets it. Like Jeff understands. He understands Hal and Sinestro. He understands who Guy Gardner is. Gardner isn't Warrior, whatever the hell they made him in the 90s. Guy Gardner's kind of like the pain in the ass, but like he has your back, He's John Stewart's like the straight man, he's very much kind of like inward, and he can explode if you push him, but he's very reserved and very kind of tactical and technical. And Cal's the artist, and he got all these little things. He even got like the, get it, he's showing the power of the Guardians.
Yeah, right here is I remember is your favorite, right? Where he just goes all that way and just kind of smirks. Like I love it. One of the things I like about Hal is he's just so much personality. Because here's what I like about the Green Lanterns is, don't get me wrong, powers are cool, and what I like is you could use those powers in different ways, with the same powers in different ways. But Hal has such a unique kind of identity. Am I frozen or is he frozen? Oh, Mark, you got Mark. Mark's got him on. Yeah, Mark, I got to get you on at some point. I just saw Mark Bolton this weekend. Hold on. Am I frozen or is he frozen? Okay, he's frozen. All right. Oh, okay. You're not frozen anymore. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I lost you for a second. You want to repeat that?
Oh, wait. All right, so who is lost objectively? I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Looks like Mark's in the chat. Mark Bolton said he's having you on. But I was saying one of the things that's cool about the Green Lanterns is each one has a distinct, even if they have the same powers, the way they use it is different, and the characters' personalities are different.
Yeah, completely. Like Cal's the artist, he's he draws up these kind of super like imaginative things. Hal's more like he's pure will. So he's basically he channels everything through the ring. Like he cuts through everything, and just like it's like the more purest form of the Green Lantern power. That's why Hal's called the greatest, because he's able to channel it in a way that almost nobody else is. It's just really unique stuff, and it's really fun to play with and building the lore of all these characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so I have a question. So it looks like, did you pull from Hal with your main character a lot or no?
No, Dave's actually his personality is based on a lot of people I grew up with. He's basically, I have a lot of friends and stuff who are, we all like, he's 21 in the book, so he's basically, he's graduated from college and he's trying to figure out kind of what's next. So he's got like a very kind of like tragic, just kind of interesting kind of backstory. We kind of will reveal more as the issues go on. So yeah, his personality is very much like, he's someone who's willing to take chances. The way he was brought up in a certain way by his dad. Kind of he's a fighter basically. From when he's young, so he kind of grows up with that fighter mentality. That's why he doesn't run away from Akula when he shows up. Akula literally shows up at his front door, and he has to protect his mom. So his first instinct is fight, not flight. So like that kind of is ingrained in him. So he's very much based on a lot of people that I grew up with when I was in my like early 20s and stuff. He's a fun character to write. It's kind of different levels to him. Like as kind of we reveal more, we'll kind of get more into his backstory and stuff.
Yeah, no, I always like that kind of stuff. So you're not showing his whole backstory right away. You're kind of building it up.
Yeah, we give little glimpses of different stuff for each of the characters. Just kind of give you enough to kind of get an idea, and then as more stuff is revealed as kind of the issues go on.
That's cool. I always like that. So tell me about your interior art team.
Yeah, so the team on this is Ibai Canales and Hal Comics, Alan Alonso. Ibai does the pencils and Hal does all the colors. That's for the main story there, the first kind of 4 pages. The last 2 are from the epilogue story. Each ace has an epilogue story there, you see. Those are by Alan Alonso. He pencils and colors.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's a bit of like a mystery piece. You won't really get the full influence of the epilogues until like it all comes together. It'll all come full circle later down the road. So there's a couple little things that we kind of, we want to get people who are in for the long ride, kind of want to reward them, for jumping on. We've got some cool stuff planned. And yeah, just really, I think the best art so far of the series, just really beautiful colors. And, Canales and Hal, this is their second issue working together, so they've just gotten better and more comfortable with each other. And then, like, I think it just brings out the best of the book. I only showed the first 4 pages there because everything else after is like a spoiler. But I think you'll continue to see the art gets even better as the issues goes on. It's just like you just feel like the comfort level, and once you get into like the big Hyon and kind of Ace and all the 2 teams fighting each other, like those are really kind of beautiful pages, and I can't wait for people to see them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like it's a unique look to the book. But I like it. It's cartoony too. I noticed it's different from the I have a question. So was he the was he the main artist for the first issue or no?
Yep, he's been the main artist for all 3 issues.
Okay, but you said the color has changed?
Yeah, I had Theo Gonzalez colored the first one.
Okay.
He ended up moving on to other things, so I ended up getting Alan to do 2 and 3. And yeah, he's just fantastic. Like I think he's completely underrated. Like he can draw, he can color anything, any kind of style. Is just like I said, I just think like you see the growth from each issue. I think it's just the art and the colors and everything just gets better. And yeah, I think people will be really happy with this.
Absolutely. I think this looks great. And I think this is going to be a really exciting book. We have 35 days left, and we got a lot more to do. So let's make sure we can get this. We don't have that much, actually. We have how many? 35 days left and less than $800 to go. So that's definitely attainable. So if you guys get the chance, make sure you back this book. Let's see how many backers we can get. And how far along is it?
All the art and colors are done. The main story's lettered. I'm just going over the script for the epilogue just to kind of make sure everything kind of double checks. And then I'll get that lettered probably, early part of July. I'll send that to my letterer. And then, I'll probably get the proof probably by late July and kind of see where we stand from there.
So you're going to, so December is just like a late estimate then?
Yeah. I mean, I've had this is my 6th campaign and each one brings its own challenges. I think the only one that went smooth was volume 1.
Really? The first one?
Yeah, I got super lucky during the first one. Every volume 2, I had tons of damaged books from Mix'em. That was a whole ordeal that delayed stuff by 2.5 months, 3 months. It was a nightmare.
Maybe I'm getting too cocky because I thought I could ship it in September.
No, I mean, if the proof comes back and they ship them to you in good condition, you can get them out. Like I said, that's what happened with Ace 1. I got them in, they were good, packed them, shipped them. That went super smooth. But life has funny ways sometimes. So just try and just give yourself a buffer and just kind of protect yourself, make sure everything's right. And like I said, this is my baby, so I want to make double, triple, quadruple check everything to make sure everything is good and get in people's hands, man. So we'll get them out to you. That says my 6th campaign, 5 fulfilled. So you can count on getting your books.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's really been a pleasure. It's great. You make me want to read some more comics, but this one especially. So everyone, make sure you guys get this book, especially if you're a fan of Green Lantern. And anything else you want to say before we head out?
Yeah, last thing is just I'm doing this special special offer. Anybody who backs during a live stream will get a special item that it won't be available on the campaign.
Oh,
it's a nice, cool piece of art that'll be a cool little bonus. So if you back during a campaign, just backer number sign out cool to you along with your order.
I didn't know that. I would have asked you that at the beginning. You got to lead with that one.
Hey, once we got talking into Green Lantern, man, you just,
Yeah, I know. No, listen, I enjoyed the conversation, so
No,
it doesn't matter.
no
It's not
fun.
about the money. But make sure this is your last chance to do that, guys. Make sure you take advantage of that because that is one hell of a deal. And catch him tonight with Mark Polton. I might be doing a live stream later tonight. We'll see. I got a lot to do. I'm getting over the con crud, but I don't, because last time I was getting over it and then I dove right back into another con and look at me now. So we'll see. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned. And my comic is going to be launching on Indiegogo and Kickstarter next Monday. So be there for that. And keep an eye on his book. We got books that are going to be turning around fast. It looks like the Ace is going to be turning around fast by the time you back it. So make sure you do that. And obviously, the faster these books fund, the faster we can get into later issues. So if you're a fan of the Ace and you want more, definitely make sure you back and get the word out there. And see you guys next time. Have a great one. And I'm going to play the trailer for my comic as we head out.
Peace.
When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new. Something greater to be born, and with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenova. For you, Dad. For you.